Well, welcome. Welcome to another edition of Daily Videos with me. It's Tuesday, and I hope you're all doing okay. And so far are having a good week. Hope you like my Superman curl I got going on here. Anyway, let's all take a deep breath and just offer up a prayer to whatever higher power that you recognize. I'll recognize my own. And so please join me. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. And give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen. So, my friends, I hope that you have things in your life that bring you joy. Things that keep you grounded. You know, for me, as silly as these videos are sometimes, they have been a source of comfort for me through these days of a pandemic. Just doing these videos have brought me a lot of comfort. And so even when we're reading kind of an intense book, Hunger Games, I know it's hard to believe we even read through the whole Charlotte's Web. Which was a fun one. So, which was a good one, but sad, right? So, speaking of Hunger Games, let's get right into it, shall we? And you killed him, he demands. This is when Thrush caught up with Katniss, and so far he has not killed Katniss. Yes, I killed him and buried her in flowers, I say, and I sang her to sleep. Tears spring in my eyes, the tension, the fight goes out of me at the memory, and I'm overwhelmed by Rue and the pain in my head and my fear of Thresh and the moaning of the dying girl a few feet away. To sleep? To death. I sang until she died. Your district, they sent me bread. My hand reaches up, but not for an arrow that I know I'll never reach, just to wipe my nose. Do it fast, okay, Thresh? Conflicting emotions cross Thresh's face. He lowers the rock and points at me, almost accusingly. Just this time, I let you go. For the little girl, you and me were even then. No more owed, you understand? I nod because I do understand about owing, about hating it. I understand that if Thresh wins, he'll have to go back and face a district that has already broken all the rules to thank me. And he's breaking the rules to thank me too, and I understand that for a moment Thresh is not going to smash my skull. Clove. Cato's voice is much nearer now. I can tell by the pain in it that he sees her on the ground. You better run now, Fire Girl. I don't need to be told twice. I flip over and my feet dig into the hard-packed earth as I run away from Thresh and Clove and the sound of Cato's voice. Only when I reach the woods do I turn back for an instant. Thresh and both large backpacks are vanishing over the edge of the plain into the area I've never seen. Cato kneels beside Clove, spear in hand, begging her to stay with him. In a moment, he will realize it's futile. She can't be saved. I crash into the trees, repeatedly swiping away the blood that's pouring into my eye, fleeing like the wild, wounded creature I am. After a few minutes, I hear the cannon. I know that Clove has died, that Cato will be on one of our trails, either Thresh's or mine. I am seized with terror, weak from my head wound. Shaking, I load an arrow, but Cato can throw that spear almost as far as I can shoot. Only one thing calms me down. Thresh has Cato's backpack, containing the thing he needs desperately. If I had to bet, Cato headed out after Thresh, not me. Still, I don't slow down when I reach the water. I plunge right in, boots still on, and flounder downstream. I pull off Rue's socks that I've been using for gloves and press them into my forehead, trying to staunch the flow of blood, but they've soaked in minutes. Somehow I make it back to the cave. I squeeze through the rocks in the dappled light. I pull the little orange backpack from my arm, cut open the clasp, and dump the contents on the ground. One slim box containing one hypodermic needle. Without hesitating, I jam the needle into Peeta's arm and slowly press down on the plunger. My hands go to my head and then drop to my lap, slick with blood. The last thing I remember is an exquisitely beautiful green and silver moth landing on the curve of my wrist. Is that the end for Katniss? Will Peeta be saved? Will Katniss and Peeta win the Hunger Games? Find out on the next installment of Hunger Games. Okay. So, speaking of installments, I do enjoy reading these from John Pavlovitz. Stuff that needs to be said. And so here's one for you. He's not afraid to say what needs to be said, and I love that about him. So the next title is White Evangelicals. This is why people are through with you. And there's a bug. All right. So, dear White Evangelicals, I need to tell you something. People have had it with you. They're done. They want nothing to do with you any longer, and here's why. They see your hypocrisy, your inconsistency, your incredibly selective mercy, and your thinly veiled supremacy. For 8 years, they watched you relentlessly demonize a black president, a man faithfully married for 26 years, a doting father and a husband without a hint of moral scandal or the slightest whiff of infidelity. They watched you deny his personal faith convictions, argue his birthplace, and assail his character, all without cause or evidence. They saw you brandish scriptures to malign him and use the laziest of racial stereotypes in criticizing him. And through it all, White Evangelicals, you never once suggested that God placed him where he was. You never publicly offered prayers for him and his family. You never welcomed him to your Christian universities. You never gave him the benefit of the doubt in any instance. You never spoke of offering him forgiveness or mercy. Your evangelists never publicly thanked God for his leadership. Your pastors never took to the pulpit to offer solidarity with him. You never made any effort to affirm his humanity or show the love of Jesus to him in any quantifiable measure. You violently oppose him at every single turn without offering a single ounce of the grace you claim as the heart of your faith tradition. You jettisoned Jesus as you dispensed damnation on him. And yet you gave carte blanche to a white Republican man so riddled with depravity, so littered with extramarital affairs, so unapologetically vile, with such a vast resume of moral filth that the mind boggles. And the change in you is unmistakable. It has been an astonishing conversion to behold, a being born again. With him, you suddenly find religion. With him, you're now willing to offer full absolution. With him, all is forgiven without repentance and admission. With him, you're suddenly able to see some invisible, deeply buried heart. With him, sin has become unimportant, compassion no longer a requirement. With him, you see only providence. And White Evangelicals, all those people who have had it with you, they see it all clearly. They recognize the toxic source of your inconsistency. They see that pigmentation and party are your supreme deities. They see that you aren't interested in perpetuating the love of God or emulating the heart of Jesus. They see that you aren't burdened to love the least or to be agents of compassion or to care for your Muslim, gay, African, female, or poor neighbors as yourself. They see that all you're really interested in doing is making a God in your own ivory image and demanding that the world bow down to it. They recognize that this is all about white Republican Jesus, not dark-skinned Jesus of Nazareth. And now you don't realize it, but you're digging your own grave these days, the grave of your very faith tradition. Your willingness to align yourself with cruelty is a costly marriage. Yes, you've gained Supreme Court seats, a few years with the presidency as a mouthpiece, and the cheap high of temporary power. But you've lost a whole lot more. You've lost an audience with millions of wise, decent, good-hearted, faithful people with eyes to see this ugliness. You've lost any moral high ground or spiritual authority with an entire generation. You've lost any semblance of Christ-likeness. You've lost the plot, and most of all, you've lost your soul. I know it's likely you'll dismiss these words. The fact that you've even made your bed with such malevolence shows how far you are gone and how insulated you are from the reality in front of you. But I had to at least try to reach you. It's what Jesus would do. Maybe you need to read what he said again if he still matters to you. Soon these evangelicals will ask why so much of America has rejected Jesus, and we will remind them of these days and assure them that they have not rejected Jesus at all. They just found no evidence of him in them or in their church. Damn. He just doesn't hold back when he speaks too. That's man. So anyway, yeah. And I recognize that not all evangelicals are like that, but sometimes it feels like the majority are. And to this day, I will publicly say this. This is my own personal opinion. To this day, it still baffles my mind to the people that support Trump. And I'm just throwing it out there because I just have to say it. I don't get it. He just, anyway, yeah. Anyway, I just wanted to say that out loud. I just don't see him as being a good leader for our country. Not at all. And I just wanted to say that out loud because I think it just needs to be said. And I pray for our country. I do. And it's heartbreaking to see the state that it's in. It's heartbreaking to see the hate. And maybe in a way, maybe Trump has opened the door for people to show their true colors, which is sad. But it's a really hard time to be an American right now. I'm just throwing that out there and just stating my frustration, as we are one of the countries that is doing the worst at getting rid of this virus. And it's because there's just so many people in our country who hate being told what to do. God forbid we tell people to wear a mask to protect others and to protect themselves as well. I don't know. It's frustrating. It makes me want to pull my hair out sometimes. But anyway, I didn't mean to get off on that tangent. I do hope you are doing okay. Just know, I don't know. I do have hope that this will get better one day or another, right? And I hope you have hope as well. God bless you.